Well, good morning, everyone. We're down here at the Las Vegas Federal Courthouse again today, and we do not have an answer or no verdict yet, as of yet. So we'll give everybody a moment to come on. We're going to take a few answers today and questions from people. We've got, like I said, no verdict has come in at all. We just thought we'd give a recap of what's been going on, and that there's quite a few of us down here in front of the federal courthouse. We're waiting patiently. It's probably pretty hard on the family right now. I know most of them are ready to get this over with and get an answer. But as of right now, we have no verdict and no sign of a verdict in the future just yet. It's all been quiet from the jurors. We haven't heard nothing back from them since they started deliberating on Thursday, about 1:30. We have about 20 plus people coming and going down here today in support. We have several of the family members of the defendants that are down here waiting for answers. We haven't seen none of the lawyers or attorneys for any of the defendants that showed up yet. We do have a lot of Homeland Security, a lot of Metro PD officers. I know there's about a dozen plus vehicles parked in behind the courthouse today. It's a high presence of law enforcement today. But I personally don't think we're going to get a verdict today, but we possibly could at any moment. We just don't know. So, but right now there's no sign of it. Brandon and I have been down here. We've had, Channel 3? Channel 3 came down here and interviewed us. And so we're having a little bit of media today. Very little, except just a couple people have showed up. It's been fairly quiet other than that.
Neil Wampler did a pretty lengthy interview. And I didn't really get a chance to hear everything he said. But Neil's very articulate. He's an intelligent man. He's very informative. So I'm sure he did a good job.
We also had Eric Parker. She gave an interview with Channel 3. So their presence are here. The media presence is here. They're waiting around probably like we are. But it's not like Portland, Oregon yet. We don't have the high presence. A lot of cars haven't showed up but of the media. So it's been fairly quiet so far today. We've just been hanging out and waiting on this verdict to come in. We'll be down here every single day until we do get a verdict. So it doesn't matter if it takes 3 or 4 days or a week. We'll be here every single day from about 8 o'clock in the morning until that's when the jurors get in and start deliberating until about 5 o'clock at night. So until we get a verdict, we will be here. There will be a lot of us coming and going, 20, 30 people every day that has committed themselves to being here. We have David Fleeman that shows up faithfully every single day. He was the first one here before any of us got here again today. Setting up flags, setting up the signs. So, and Doug Knowles again came. They're coming a long ways. They're coming about 80 miles one way from Crump over there all the way over here to support. So there's a lot of people that's put a lot into this. If there's any questions on here, I'll try to watch out for some questions that people might have. Ask them here, and we'll try to watch the screen here and see if there's anything important that comes on.
We had one encouraging thing. One of the alternate jurors, they've been dismissed, and one of them came out on the steps and was taking pictures of us. And I can only see one reason why they would do that, and that is, that they're on our side, or at least he was on our side. So hopefully that was a good sign.
We have about approximately 15 minutes. It takes a little longer than that, but once the jurors send a message back to the judge saying they have an answer or a question or whatever it is, the attorneys and lawyers and prosecutors and the whole team has 15 minutes. So they have to stay within 15 minutes of the courthouse, and they'll be called in, and we will know that when it's happening, because we know from Portland in the last 2 trials, people come running from everywhere to rush into the courthouse, especially when we know the verdict is in. The media will start showing up. The attorneys will be running down here. So, but once that verdict comes in, we will definitely notify you. We will be on the live stream immediately as soon as that happens when we know a decision. Once we're in the courtroom, it takes about a half hour to go through the formalities and read through the verdict situation thing. So it will, for the time we get notified, for the time the verdict is read, would be anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes and up to an hour.
And didn't you say there were 16 charges? So
there's a total, I think these men here have around 12 actual charges on these guys. There's about 16, 17 charges all total on everybody. So there's a lot for the jurors to go over. This isn't as simple as what happened there in Portland. They had about 7 charges there in Portland, Oregon that they had to make a decision on. The jurors here have over 12, around 12 plus charges here to look over. So
and I'm at least encourage everybody I've talked to that actually sat through the trial, has good feelings about it. I think that pretty much culminated in the last 2 days though, because that's when the defense in the closing arguments was finally able to get out what they've been trying to say all this time. And she even hindered them somewhat at that. But I noticed when I was watching the jurors, they really perked up when the defense started giving their closing arguments. They were very, very attentive, and that's good. That's good for us.
Yeah, I've seen a question here. Lisa said, or asked, when do we think there might be a verdict? I don't expect one before Wednesday myself. This is just me from being in Portland and other trials around the country in the past. But we could get one today, but I don't expect it. I expect no earlier than tomorrow, possibly Wednesday or longer. One of the things about the longer the juror is deliberating, the more honest they most likely are going to be with this. They are looking into the case. It takes time to do that. If they've got to come back with a quick verdict, that's usually not good. So the longer the verdict, we get an answer back, the better off it is, because the jurors are looking into the evidence, trying to find a proper answer, and it also could mean, if it goes too long, a hung jury. That we don't want. But at least 2 or 3 days, I think it's a good sign myself.
Well, they have thousands and thousands of pages of stuff that they've got to go over. Regardless where their convictions are at the beginning, they got to go over everything. And there's videos, there's Facebook entries, there's thousands of pages that they got to look at. So any way you look at it, you're looking at least a few days. And then Friday, or they didn't do anything, and Thursday it was a short day. So, you know, today's the first real full day. So this is going to take some time.
Yeah, they only had a few hours on Thursday, and today is the actual first long day since the weekend. So it...
And I think that plays best for us, because the prosecution, they got the last word to say. And anytime, you know, you get the last word to say, my personal feeling is you want to give a few days so they can catch up on all the stuff that was said previous to that. You know, it's kind of like, you've heard the old saying, whoever has the last word won the argument. So this will give them plenty of time. And I didn't go listen to the prosecution's closing remarks, but I heard they were very, very biased, of course, brutal, bunch of lies. So, you know, now they've had a whole weekend, plus, you know, a long weekend to really go over and forget the closing remarks by the prosecution and look at all the evidence and go over everything.
The best evidence we had in this case came in the last few days of this case through Eric Parker's testimony. We struggled with witnesses in this case. We struggled with government threatening witnesses and witness intimidation. And so we was left with very little choice here but to bring Eric Parker on the stand. I personally wished more of the defendants could have took the stand or would have, but Eric Parker took the stand, and his testimony was very crucial to this whole case and was very powerful. The jurors got to hear a ton of evidence that was kept out by the prosecution for the 7 weeks we had court here. So those testimonies brought out Margaret Houston's being knocked to the ground. The government didn't play that. It got brought out that the video where Ammon Bundy was tased. The government kept that out for 7 weeks. It got brought out that Dave Bundy's arrest, that kept out for 7 weeks. So these things were crucial to get brought in there. The government did not want any misconduct of BLM agents brought into this case, and that was made clear from day one. Even Dan Love never testified in this case, and he was one of the main guys in charge out there. He also was the one who went before the grand jury and had all of these men indicted, and his testimony was still kept out of this case. But overall, the last couple of days was very informational packed for the juror. A lot of evidence came in that was kept out, not as much as we wanted to, but I still feel that it made a big impact on the jurors with his testimony, and the closing arguments of these defendants and their lawyers brought out a ton of information that had not been heard over and over and over again for 7 weeks, things that the government kept saying. The government's whole case is summed up in about 1 hour. And it just goes on over, and it's repetitive.
It's redundant.
Yeah,
it's
over
boring,
and over again.
And it looks like they're desperate when they do that. It looks like they're overplaying their hand. They're condescending. And I saw this very similar thing in Oregon during the first trial. I think they feel it starting to slide away. So then what they do is they just try to go over and over and over and just cram it down the jury's throats. Well, we know now that some of the jurors up in Oregon in the first trial said they were insulted, their intelligence was insulted by the way they were being treated by the prosecution. I saw a very similar thing. Again, I didn't wait for the last closing remarks or arguments by the prosecution, but I saw the first one. And I knew the second one, I didn't even want to see it because I knew it was just going to be more of the same. And it was, from what everybody told me. It was just more of the same. So that's all they got. And they just keep force feeding, try to cram this stuff down the jury's throats. And it gets very offensive.
It definitely does. If there's any questions anybody has to ask us, please ask it now. We're about to be finished here right now. I'm watching out for some good information here. I seen Rob said that we need more numbers down here. We definitely do. I know there's not a lot to do right now. It feels like we're just down here just sitting around, but we are educating people. We're telling people what's going on down here. There's tons and tons of people honking their horns, stopping by for free constitutions. Education and educating people for potential jurors is a big thing. That's our only hope that we have in any of these court trials anymore, is to educate the people to be able to be a good juror when they are called up. Because jurors can nullify freedom. Jurors can nullify bad laws, and that's their job when they see these unjust cases being taken before the courts. So keep praying for us. If you can get down here, come down here, stand with us, even if it's for just a couple of hours. We need people out here passing out constitutions, educating people, and we can stop this tyranny right now where it's at, and we're going to get a not guilty down here. That's what we're praying hard for, and we totally stand in faith that that's what we're going to get. And these guys will get to go home this week. So,
and that's going to be awesome to see them in the arms of their loved ones.
It definitely is. So we need supporters down here just to support the family here. This is going to be a very emotional time for this family. For whatever outcome it comes, they need moral support, and we need more people here just to support them. Because when we get that call to go up in this courtroom to hear this verdict, we need people to help support them emotionally and spiritually all the way around, because that's their life is on the limb right here.
Yeah.
So thanks again for joining us. We will try to have you another update about 5 o'clock to let you know what's happening. Unless we do get a verdict, we'll be coming back right at that moment and start letting everybody know a verdict is going to come in. Other than that, every day we'll be back down here letting you know what's going on moment by moment as it's happening down here.
If you're not losing some of your clothes, the knees aren't being worn out, you're not praying enough. Come on, let's pray.
Exactly. I know that the guys at Prump are really praying hard for these 6 men here. They're sitting in jail, and as I talk to them on the phone every night, and I go out there and visit them, they let me know that they are praying for all of us that are out here, and they're also praying for the guys in Henderson that are waiting on this trial. These 6 men right now that are waiting on a verdict are up here in this courthouse, sitting in a cell, in chains, handcuffs, feet chains, all day long. They don't get the chains taken off of them unless there's an answer from the verdict or the jurors have a question. They sit in chains all day long in a small concrete box up here. And it's horrible that these things are going on to people that are still innocent, that haven't been found guilty yet, that they are sitting in chains for almost 15 months. And it's pretty sad. But I'll let you go at that. We will try to be back again at 5 o'clock. Try to keep you updated as we go along. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again, and God bless. Keep praying for us, and we will see you later.
Nice. Yeah, that juror 15 was definitely on our side.
They came out here or something? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to be allowed to be in the deliberation.
Oh, the juror 15? Oh, no, they're not. No. No,
They said come and visit. Of course, you know, they might have